G'day everyone, hot on the back of my Piscifun Honor XT review, I've decided to review a different Piscifun reel. This time I'm reviewing the Piscifun Phantom, a lightweight baitcaster reel. Is it as good as the Piscifun Honor XT? Let's find out. Right, now I wanted to film this review pretty quickly after the Honor XT, because with the Honor XT I really pumped it up because I think it was a fantastic reel that represented fantastic value. First off, let me just start by saying the Piscifun Phantom, I don't rate it as highly as the Honor XT. It's still a good reel. I'm not going to run it into the ground. It's certainly got a lot of good points, but I don't rate it as high. Now, the Phantom X, there's a Phantom and a Phantom X, and I happen to own them both. I bought the Phantom X and the Phantom was sent to me by Piscifun. Now, it's lightweight. If I look at the specs, it is 7.0 or 7:1 gear ratio. It's got six ball bearings plus a roller ball bearing. It's got 17 pound or 7.7 kilograms of drag, and the reel weighs 162 grams. And line retrieve is 77 centimeters per crank. But anyway, I don't look too much into those details. The main thing I look for is a nice high-speed gear, and this is 7:1, which makes it quite high speed. I don't do technical data too well. Most of you that have followed my channel for a long time will know that. I don't do technical data too well at all. I just use a reel and I describe how it works. Now, the Piscifun Phantom. Right throughout this review, there's something you need to remember. This is like a $75 reel. You can buy it on Amazon for $74, I think it is, and that includes free postage, so it's a $75 reel. Now, in my Honor XT reel, I compared the Honor XT with the Shimano Stratic quite a bit because they're very, very similar in quality, in my opinion. The Phantom, the natural thing to do would be to compare it with the Shimano Corrado, but I can't do that because there's no difference. The Corrado is a much better reel. But anyway, the Phantom, what does it offer? It's lightweight, it looks awesome, it's got a really nice black and green colour, and it works. It does what it's supposed to do, and for $75, that represents very good value. What doesn't it do? Well, the line lay is really uneven. It lays the line too much on one side and not enough on another, and it comes up on an angle. That might be repairable with a washer. I think Dinger from Murray Crab Fishing, Dinger's very, very good with reels, and he explained to me once before that a shim washer is what helps align that. I don't really understand any of that. He does. I'm actually hoping that Murray Crab Fishing release a video on how to service reels because I know it'll be a good one. But anyway, so the line lay isn't great. The good news is that doesn't seem to affect the fishing. It still casts as it's supposed to and works as it's supposed to. Just doesn't look right. So the line lay isn't great. Casting is where it's probably at its weakest. With the Shimano Corrado that I'm used to, you can go cast after cast after cast without any problem. This seems to take a fair bit of fine tuning with the brakes to get it exactly how you want it. When it comes straight out of the factory, the brakes are all turned off. And when you cast it, you get backlash straight away because the lure just wants to keep flying through the air, but the spool doesn't want to keep moving that fast. So you've got to get in and make adjustments to the brakes and get it how you want it. Now, what I've found with this reel is that quite often I've done that. I've made those adjustments and I've got it how I want it. And then I think this is a great reel for the money and it works really well. Half an hour later I start having trouble again and I've got to make adjustments again. I might change lures, and instead of being able to just quickly adjust this little casting brake knob on this side, I've got to adjust the brakes on this side. So it's a little bit more fiddly when it comes to using the brakes. Now, the good thing about this reel is that it does come with a dual braking system. Now what that means, a lot of these baitcaster reels usually come with one of two types of brakes. They have what we call centrifugal brakes, or as they call them in some parts of the world, centrifugal, which is the same thing. Centrifugal, which is where a centrifugal force pushes the brakes out. So inside here, there's brakes off the shaft that comes through the centre. As it spins, it pushes the brakes out. You can take those brakes out, or you can leave them in. You can leave one or two in, or whatever, to adjust the brakes. In a lot of the modern day reels, such as this one, you open it up and there's a little knob inside that you can turn. I think I've got this set on 2. You can actually turn to adjust how many centrifugal brakes you want to use. Another braking system that a lot of reels have is magnetic brakes. This reel also has a magnetic brake which is controlled by this knob on the outside. the magnetic braking system of the reel is much more complex than a lot of people realise. It's not just a case of a magnet touching the spool and slowing it down. I believe the spool acts as a conductor for a magnet that's up this end of the reel, or something that's way above my my knowledge. But either way, the magnetic brakes also act as a brake, and you can adjust it by adding more brake or less brake. Now, you need to fine-tune this reel to get it how you want it. At the moment, I've got this reel here, the magnetic brake is set on 2.5, and if I take the side plate off and go into the centrifugal brakes, I can see I've got that set on 2. The centrifugal brakes are in there, so I've got centrifugal brake set on 2, magnetic brake set on 2.5, and that seems to be working okay for me. So the good news about the Phantom is that it has 2 brake adjustments, the centrifugal brake and the magnetic brake. The bad news is that it doesn't lay the line really well, and that it is a bit prone to backlashing. It's a little bit more fiddly to get it right. But as I said at the start, bear in mind, this is a $75 reel. The Honor XT that I reviewed the other day, that's like a $100 reel, but I can compare that to a much more expensive reel. I can compare this to a reel that's a little bit more expensive. Actually, I have, and I use it more with my deeper fish finder than anything else these days, an Abu Revo reel. I think it's an Revo Max or something. I've had it a few years. This is pretty much on par with that. That Abu doesn't lay the line as smoothly as it probably should either. So I consider this to be on par with about that Abu. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this came out of the same factory as the Abu or the Rapala reels. It's very, very similar. So folks, if you're in the market for... Well, there's one other thing I forgot to tell you. There is one thing that I do not like about this reel. It screams. When you buy it, it goes nee through the air. You need to oil the reel. Personally, I think when you buy a brand new reel, you shouldn't have to oil it. But remember, it's a $75 reel. So to do that, it's a simple case of taking the side plate off. You can even pull the spool out if you want to. You've just got to, if you look on there, it's going to be a bit blurry for me to sort of focus. This is, if you look in here, if it focuses, that is the brake drum in there. Those circles there, they're the magnets for the magnetic braking system. This brake drum is what controls the centrifugal brakes. The centrifugal brakes rub on the inside of that. What you need to do is give that a clean with some alcohol wipe or something, then just put a little bit of oil on and smear it around, and that'll stop that squeaking noise in no time. That'll really fix that suddenly. You shouldn't have to do that with a brand new reel, I don't think. I think brand new reels shouldn't squeal. $75 reel. So folks, who do I think this reel shouldn't be bought by? Someone, a kid, someone that's new to baitcaster reels might not like this. This might not be a good introduction to baitcaster reels, but it won't be any worse than any other reel under $150, I wouldn't imagine. It won't be a worse experience than any cheap reel. It'll be just as you do just as well to buy this for a beginner as you would as any other cheap reel. I think it would be, it's probably best for people that have got a lot of bait casting experience but are on a budget. Someone like myself, I've been using baitcaster reels for 25 years. As a result, I don't mind this reel. I really like it. I love the way it looks really good. I love to be different, and this is certainly different to what everyone else is using. I really like it. I'm happy to use it whether I bought it or not. I didn't buy this one, but I bought the red one. I got the red one on my Venom, my #1 Murray cod fishing rod, my Venom 6kg baitcaster, and I've got this on a Shimano something or other that I've had in the shed for a couple of years. So I've got 2 rods. My wife often uses one and I use one. She didn't like this at first, but once I adjusted the brakes and got her used to it, she really liked it. So folks, that's the rundown of the Phantom baitcaster reel. It's great value, but not a great reel. $75 delivered to your door from Amazon. Just think of that. I'll put a link in the video description below to where you can buy it for that price. But I wanted to review it because I said that the Honor XT was almost as good as the $300 spinning reel. I just wanted to let you know that the Phantom, I just don't quite hold it in as high a regard as I do the Honor XT. I just think it's still good value, but not as good value. There's still a good reel, but not as good a reel. But I tell you what, folks, I've already caught quite a few fish on it. So as a reel, it certainly works.